Namaste. So I'm going to make a video playing Henri Jocoleour's segments and then commenting on them. And I'll do it in segments. I don't want to make too long of a video, but I feel it's a good idea for people to get some correct information because, as we've stated right along, Henry's understandings are completely not there, and he's misquoting and misrepresenting everything that there is to do with the process of walking a path and going toward enlightenment. Now, first of all, before part of this video, this is the video Swami Guruji as no heart and is full of lies and whatever deception, but this it's just a projection, really. So the first thing that he was talking about in this video was meeting Prabhupada. And yes, Guru Swamiji did meet Prabhupada. She told me this many years ago, and I've heard it many times. And that's just a statement of fact. One day he just met her in private quarters, and he said to her that you will reach realization in this lifetime. That's just a statement of fact. That's how it is. So here goes the video.
So you're saying that you are experiencing Sahaj Nirvikalpa Samadhi. You are at that state.
Guru Swamiji is nodding yes in the video.
And you see, that's the problem with Sharon and people like Sharon. Because they are in a state of delusion about their attainment, they have skipped some of the process of self.
Okay, let me just comment that Henry is in no position to be commenting on if someone is in delusion or not. He himself has stated that he's not enlightened. He has stated that he's a psychotherapist. There's no record of that. So he has no credentials that appear to be genuine. He's claimed 10,000 students. That appears to be quite false. And based on his understandings, it's quite clear that he's never actually had shifts in consciousness, and clearly he doesn't know what Kundalini is. Ramana states that, clearly states that a preliminary necessity for unfolding enlightenment is the Kundalini awakening. And the students on this path, the Kundalini, for many, including myself, the Kundalini was either awake before arriving on the path, or it did awaken once coming on the path. For me, it happened very quickly once I met Guru Swamiji. And as such, it would be like I know what it is in the same way like I know what an apple tastes like. Versus what Henry is doing is he doesn't know what it is, except he's read about it or done interviews. So, and even at that, he's done such a poor job at doing interviews and reading about it. He's read bits and pieces. He's missed in reading things. He's missed the key things that Ramana had to say. And in doing the interviews, it's the same thing. He's just missing everything. As such, even if they had to say about the Kundalini and enlightenment, even if they had to say the same things that we say here, that's being missed. And it would be as if we're saying, oh, I'm eating an apple. It tastes so sweet. And that's the Kundalini. And he's coming, I've interviewed this guy and this one and that sage and this saint, and I've read these books, and they say the apple tastes sour, which they don't say anyway. That's about what it amounts to. So continuing on with the video, just basically, Henry is in no position to comment on someone's state of consciousness. He asks the question, are you enlightened? She answers yes, and immediately he goes into a tirade. That's the problem. There's no problem. You asked if she's enlightened. She said yes. Now, find out what enlightenment is for yourself. That's always what's been said. Don't take anyone's word for it. Walk the path. Find your own way to walk the path. Find your guru, and take the internal search and see. You could see that way what enlightenment is, not by conducting interviews and reading books and seeing if what those books and interviews, if that matches up with someone when you meet them, and then they claim enlightenment to see does the two match, because they're never going to do it. It's never going to work that way. Continuing on.
Realization, and their heart are not open. Now, if you believe that you are beyond a personal God, be Krishna or Shiva or Lord Jesus Christ. You can't develop love of God.
Okay, what do you mean if you believe you're beyond a God? It's not beyond any God. Enlightenment, Guruji Swamiji explains, as it simply is. There's just consciousness. The mind stills. So what is this about going beyond God? I'm sorry. It's just not part of use the words that you would use to describe enlightenment. You know, enlightenment can't be described with words anyway, because it can only be known directly. But you take words and use them as best as possible to try to give those listening some idea of a pointing. The pointing is not it. So the pointing is there only is. You know, the mind has stilled, and you know, as such, you know, what is there about love of God? And it's just not part of a way of using words to describe enlightenment.
And what is the main word of Jesus in the New Testament? They came to him and asked him, "What is it that you teach, Rabbi?" And he said, "To love God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and thy neighbor as thyself." And from the different testimonial that I've posted under the videos, we can see that this is a woman that can be very cruel, that can treat her disciple in a very shitty way. Not
Okay, you know, that's a nice pointing from Christ, as the Bible says, love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. I forget how it goes. Okay, that's fine. That's good pointing for people to do along the way. And as far as saying that Swamiji is cruel, sorry, but you know, having known her all these years and being around her quite a bit, like many of the other students, I'm not. It's not matching up with what you have to say, versus your 2-hour interview and talking with disgruntled students. You've come up with that. Fine.
only her disciple, but everyone around her. She's been through 5 to 8 marriages already.
Okay. Now, we've all had colorful pasts. Swamiji will acknowledge she's had colorful pasts, as have all the students and everyone else probably watching this video. And that has nothing to do with what's taking place now. So, you know, some people have been divorced. There's been people have, yeah, what can you say? What does that have to do with what's taking place now and the state of enlightenment?
She's a manipulator. She's obviously someone that has not developed the love of God in her heart, or as the Buddhists would call it, a metta, a heart of love and compassion.
You know, what a bunch of hogwash. You know, you don't even know her, and you don't know what she does. You've came down for an interview for 2 hours and gathered up all kinds of information from disgruntled people who also don't even know her anyway. So you know, just nonsense. You know, sorry, I don't have the same findings that you're coming up with.
This is a very dangerous woman. More I look at it, more I look at her videos, more I hear from ex-student who give testimonial how she was treated by her. She's very dangerous. She treats better her little dogs than she treats most human beings. So,
What a nasty. You know, I guess I can compose myself. What a nasty person. You know, to make these comments. I mean, you know, you've had people that came on this path. They're disgruntled, and then they go off into these tirades, and you know, Henry has never really walked this path. He hasn't asked any questions about what this path is about. He doesn't understand his path. He's only asked very superficial questions, and then interviewed these disgruntled students and comes up with these comments. Horrible.
I received an email and they asked me, what do you want to achieve with those videos against Swami Guruji? I would like to close her down. I would like to close her business down. I would like no one to ever go to her again for advice. I would like the few remaining close disciples that are mentally enslaved by her, because that's what it is, mental enslavement. I would like the few of them to get free and get a life.
You know, I don't really, I don't really have a desire for you to get the same thing, which is to get a life. That's up to you. But you're not really accomplishing anything, in trying to have your Messiah complex to save the world and close this path down. You're not going to influence any of the students that are on this path. And those that have any discernment to see what this path about are not going to be influenced, by you. I mean, after all, what are your credentials? Absolutely nothing. It's bogus. You don't have 10,000 clients like you claim. In fact, your video hits are like 300 or so average, with your highest one being 2,000. And it should be noted that with 25 students on our path, whereas you have a 2,000 as your biggest video, we have 43,000. So with 10,000 students that you claim and 300 hits on your videos, that means you have 9,700 disgruntled clients. So you have no credentials about that are truthful with your psychotherapy. You have no credentials for understanding what Kundalini is. You have no credentials for understanding what Ramana Maharshi is. You obviously haven't had consciousness shifts or Kundalini awakening. So, the best thing for you would be, get a life, walk the path yourself. Don't worry about us. Just worry about yourself, because I don't know if you're able to understand this, but it's been advised that if you want to help the world, the best way, spiritually speaking, is unfold enlightenment for yourself, and then you'll be the greatest help to mankind, versus from some suffering state of confusion to try to straighten things out and think you're going to close things down. You're just going to make yourself miserable, and you're not really, you're like annoying to us, because I have to take the time, and we have to take the time to respond to this, so that people don't fall into confusion from your nonsense. So, that would be the best advice, just what you're saying. Just go get a life. You did say you were going to stop making these videos, and hopefully that will come to fruition quickly, because it was advised right from the beginning, so that you don't dig a hole for yourself and create this karma that you don't do this in the first place. But yet, no one can force you to listen to that. It's up to you. It's really sad. It's really too bad, because at your core, Henry, just like anyone else, enlightenment is there, and it's a matter of take the internal search and see what is it. Is it really possible for a Westerner that they can have this, or is that only with someone with robes that is in India that can get the enlightenment, and anyone that's from the West, some kind of ridiculous notion or concepts you might have like that, if it's because Swamiji does artwork, because she drives a motorcycle, because she wears this, because she looks like this, because she eats meat or whatever, the books tell you that enlightenment's not possible. Sorry, you have to find out what enlightenment is for yourself, and then you can really, you'd have some credentials, but now you have absolutely none.
It's scandalous that a woman that has been through 5 to 8 marriages and 2 children would ask young women and young men to be celibate so they could raise the Kundalini.
Okay, now my Kundalini I was celibate before I came on this path, so I wasn't asked to be celibate in my case. And the celibacy, the purpose for celibacy is, referenced in the scriptures, and it's just advisable for those that can do it, that are willing to do it, that want to do it. It's not anything that's forced, and it's not so that the Kundalini can be raised. All of those that are celibate on this path, the Kundalini being raised had nothing to do with the celibacy, and it wasn't the it wasn't a process or methodology given out so that the Kundalini can be raised. The reason for celibacy, which has an option that has been around through the ages, is it's just known to be part of a option within walking a spiritual path so that enlightenment can unfold. I mean, this is just a known thing. My inclination when I was 19 years old actually was in that direction. And as I said, celibacy was in place before I came in this path 8 years ago, before even having heard of Guru Swamiji or this path. So, technically speaking, Guru Swamiji has never asked anybody to be celibate so that the Kundalini will arise, as you put it. Let's hear what else your other misinformation.
And she will decide when it is risen or not.
Okay. Now, there is on the websites, there is a long list that gives descriptions of what an awakened Kundalini is and what it's like. So it's like you can read through it and you can see, and then if one's experience matches up with some of those things that you read, then that kind of gives you a clear indication that the Kundalini is awake. From my own experience, there's just no question about it. That's all there is to it. It's not like someone decides for me or not. I mean, what can you say? It's just like, oh, look at that. It's awake. It's there. It's 24/7. It's awake. I know what it is on that basis. If you don't have an awakened Kundalini, then you don't know what it is. And so, you're not in a position to comment about it. You're just not. I mean, you're going to look like an idiot. Okay?
It's scandalous that those people are not going and finding loving relationship because they are believing the words of Sharon. You couldn't.
Okay, I've had relationships, and what I have noticed matches up with Guru Swamiji's comments about relationships in general. I would say it's probably a lot like this. Either there's a lot of attention drawn outward in dealing with issues that come up, or it could be that the two completely become attached with each other and they're deeply in love with each other. And as far as for the scriptures will tell you, not just from this path, but the scriptures will tell you that if one has an inclination for a monkish type of a lifestyle, that it's advisable to not get into relationships. Now, this is not for everyone. To be a monk or a nun, this is not for everyone. But there is a reference in throughout the ages, and this is a traditional path here. That for those that are going to walk that kind of live that kind of a lifestyle, that this is conducive for a chance for enlightenment to unfold, because you're not engaging in what oftentimes becomes drama that unfolds within relationships. Now, in my case, I can't speak for everyone, but I've had girlfriends. I've never been married, but it, in my case, really did get the mind riled up, um, and what we what the path is about is the mind stilling. This is basically the central pointing for the path, for the mind to still. And so the two are not, they don't work well together. For one that wants to walk the path in a monk's type of a way, versus being in a relationship, they don't work well together. It's just if you want to walk this path and go in the direction of for enlightenment and mind stilling, the advice would be that if one is inclined to do so, then yes, don't be in relationships and celibacy. But that's not forced. That's just an option. One has to walk this path themselves and decide what way they're going to do it. So concluding here.
It will rise. I will tell you when it is risen. And then it will take about 13 to 14 years to stabilize.
Okay, this is again completely misunderstood. The Kundalini, as I said, is awake for many before they came here, or it wakes up when they enter the path. And the Kundalini is not enlightenment. So what Henri is trying to talk about when he says the 13 years for stabilization is after everything falls away, when the Kundalini process is completed. Then after that, when enlightenment is there, when the mind has stilled, then there's a process of 10 to 12 years of settling so that the mind stays still. That's what's explained, not to stabilize Kundalini, no.
In the meantime, she will ask you for service and donation and 10% of your income if you are stupid enough to do it.
Okay, so no, there's not 10% of your income asked for. People were giving nothing all these years, and so as of late, in the last few years, what happened is it came out and said, okay, enough of that. Now, people really shouldn't just be taking advantage like that. So everyone should come up with some donation that they're going to give. There was no monetary amount mentioned, just some kind of donation, and then one should donate it, because it does take money to operate. Money doesn't grow on trees, as we've heard it.
I'm pretty convinced at this point that she knows deep in her heart that she's bullshitting people.
No, that's not right. People are, such as myself, have the awakened Kundalini. I'm very thankful for the clarity. I was in TM for 28 years prior, and while I benefited from it, it didn't have the direct, straight cutting through pointings, which basically give me the ability to function in clarity and without confusion. And that's the value of a guru.
And Sharon, if you still have a conscience, I know you said that you lost your mind in India. But if you have...
Now, lost the mind means that the mind fell away. Ramana makes reference to this. Yes, the mind stills. Mind is no more. This usually, it's not a popular thing that paths will want to promote, because people, as soon as they hear that, are like, okay, fine, get me away from here. I want nothing to do with that. So, for example, in TM, which has millions of followers, they talk about fulfill all your desires and accomplish what you want to accomplish and be one with the universe, things like that. But no, the truth of the matter is that just like a plant, it doesn't think when it needs to do what it needs to do. It just does what needs to be done without thinking. So it's possible with the thinking process completely stilled, as the Bible quote says, "Be still and know." So with the mind completely stilled, people become afraid. Oh my God, I won't be able to function. But no, you see, just as that plant is able to function flawlessly this is the state of enlightenment, where it's just in the moment functioning.
The conscience. Free the people that you have enslaved.
The enslavement is not the enslavement is not from anyone else's doing, but each one's own enslavement, which we've put ourselves in. And what Guru Swamiji is all about is to free people up from that enslavement, which means liberation or that state of enlightenment. And there's no reason for Guru Swamiji to stop with her offering. In fact, those students who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear are very grateful for the guidance and that's all you can say. Those that don't understand it, we wish you the best. I mean, I can't force you to understand something. Can advise that if what we say with the opening of the Kundalini, if this doesn't, if this is not yet your own experience, best thing is keep quiet. Take the internal search instead of trying to trash this path. Be concerned with your own path and move forward with whatever path that is, and don't take anyone's word for it. Don't take our word for it about anything. Find out for yourself what this is all about. With that, I say namaste.